The door to the retro cabinet opens, and today I'm looking at Sorcerer's Maze, which was released for the Sony PlayStation in 2003 by XS Games. From the box art you don't get a terrific idea of the kind of game this is. There's a sorcerer, of course, and two kids, one with something that looks like a chunky Walkman, and the other who must just have really cold hands. These three also pop up on the title screen. Pressing start here makes the sorcerer's face zoom nightmarishly towards you, as if he's Colin Baker in an 80s episode of Doctor Who. That's the last you'll see of our three cover models, by the way. The game actually stars these two, who are named Prism and Rhythm, a cat person and a fairy. Not sure which one is which. Once you select an area to start off in and the game begins, it becomes clear what kind of game this is. It's a breakout or Arcanoid, hit the ball at the blocks kind of game. Before we get into the gameplay, I should give you some history. This game was a re-release of a 1998 Japanese game, originally titled Prism Land Story. What's more, it was the second time this game had made it to the West. It was previously brought over to Europe in 2001 by budget label Midas. The Japanese version was itself re-released in 2000 and given the slightly more generic name Action Puzzle Prism Land, and Sorcerer's Maze followed in 2003 in North America and PAL. So this isn't exactly a case of the same game being localized twice for no reason. The first time around, Prism Land was based on the original Japanese release, while its second release as Sorcerer's Maze was based on the Action Puzzle version. There are some differences between the Japanese and English releases, which we'll get to later. But now onto the gameplay. As Breakout clones go, this one's alright. The paddle is nice and responsive, the blocks you break have unique artwork in each world, and there are a few different types, like these ones which you have to hit multiple times, or these yellow rollers which force the ball straight back down vertically. But the heart of the game is its power-ups, or magic spells as they're called. As is usual for Breakout games, some blocks drop power-ups when broken, which grant a variety of different effects. Simple speed up or slow down, increase the paddle size, and the ever-popular cut through the blocks ball. There's a useful one that lets you control the ball for a short time after it hits the paddle, and one that lets the ball cross from one side of the arena to the other. The rarer spells, however, have the best effects. Using this magic spell, you can break a bunch of blocks at once, useful for clearing out hard-to-reach areas. The game will give you one of these for free if you've been bouncing the ball around aimlessly for too long without hitting anything. There's a spell that causes the ball to split in two when it hits the paddle, which can very quickly end the level. Same goes for the Balls Everywhere spell. Or even the Massive Ball spell. And then there's the more silly effects, like dropping a bunch of stars down to clear the screen for you. At the start of each round, you can buy a magic spell using points that you earn through gameplay. Naturally, the flashier effects cost a bit more, so you'll have to decide whether to buy the cheaper, more practical spells to get you through the stage, or save up for a few rounds to buy the Laser Beam of Doom. At the end of every world, there's a boss fight. These are pretty off-the-wall and cleverly designed, reminiscent of the anime-inspired enemies from the Parodius series. There's a witch who'll freeze your paddle, a wolf carving a sculpture out of rock, and a sunbathing cat girl who'll casually kick the ball back at you. After the boss, you'll get a quick still image cutscene. These are fun, but they lack any kind of story or context, so you'll have to figure that one out by yourself. All in all, Sorcerer's Maze is a fun block-breaking game, one I wouldn't hesitate to recommend if not for a few small problems. You see, when Prism Land Story was first brought over to Europe, the developers saw fit to remove the ability to save the game, and this carried right on over to Sorcerer's Maze 2 years later. That's right, this game does not support memory cards, so you've got to complete all 100 stages in a single sitting in order to see the ending. Prison Land Story also supported the PlayStation Mouse. Guess what? Neither of the English versions do. And the final kick in the teeth for the English version is that while the first localization of Prison Land Story did preserve the story text at the end of each world, which was fully translated into English, Sorcerer's Maze inexplicably removed that as well. So, what's my recommendation? Well, Sorcerer's Maze, with its misleading box art, inability to save, no mouse support, and no story text, is not it. The first European localization of Prison Land Story is a better choice, but you still can't save the game. To get the most out of this hidden gem, you'll probably want to seek out the original Japanese version. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, if indeed you did like it. Big thanks to Selena S7 on Twitter for recommending the game. Despite the dodgy localization, it was well worth the $5 I paid for it. You can find me on Twitter too. The link's in the description. See you later.